Hello guys. Welcome to my channel, your Tempest Federation. In our previous episode, we have seen how merchants plot and trouble. If you have not watched the previous episode, I will put a link in the description below. To quick warning, this video contains spoilers from a light novel. But before we proceed further, please like, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell for further updates. In this video, we will see the punishment to those merchants. Now without further delay, let's proceed further. As expected of your majesty, Rimuru. How did you manage to gather so many dwarven gold coins? Duke Muse said with a stiff face. As we finished counting, there was a mountain of gold coins before Muse's eyes. A mountain of shining, almost uncountable amounts of gold coins. The merchants looked confused. They probably didn't know what to do either, as things had deviated so greatly from their original plan. It was then that the suspected henchman spoke again. Well, since your nation has done according to the international charter, we have no more complaints. We will be in your care from now on as well. Oh, that wouldn't be necessary, I answered. The merchants looked shocked as they heard my words. So were my executives. What would that mean? Our business with you all ends here, from this instant onward. There won't be a next time. That's what I meant, I announced casually. The executives were all filled with surprise. Except Diablo, who had been giggling at my answer. Only this guy saw through my thoughts. There's nothing I could do with this lad. I don't quite understand what you are getting at. What are you planning? Isn't it enough that you've earned our trust by paying us? Are you looking down on us because we are just retailers? But without us wandering merchants, nations can't do much of any trade among each other. They finally seemed to come back to their senses as the merchants began to shout and complain. You people, don't you think it was a bit too rude to speak to Rimuru-sama, the ruler of this nation, in that tone? Shion spoke with a hidden cluster of fury. Realizing this, the merchants all shut their mouths. Since they all went quiet, it was time to finish the whole ordeal. Since it'd be too much trouble to be subtle about things, I'll just put this out there. Weren't you guys complaining about how our nation has no credibility? This so-called credibility should be established on the basis that both parties trust each other, not for one party to force the other into accepting their own terms. That is just how I see it. Didn't Miles already requested many times for you guys to trust us? But, well, I can't say that we don't understand your sentiment. We are monsters after all. Even when we announced that our nation wished to communicate with the Western nations, you were still unsure as to whether we would really follow through with regulations set up by humans. That must have been how you felt. Yes, that's it. So that's why. However, we did make compromises as well. Didn't we offer you to exchange goods as well as payment in forms of ancient gold coins? But none of you even cared to consider these options once. Ugh. Miles had already desperately tried to negotiate with these people countless times, even humbling himself to begging for a solution. Yet all of his efforts were rejected by the merchants here. That I cannot forgive. Just like you all wanted to trade with trustworthy partners, we too would only want to deal with trustworthy people. That's why all of you, from now on, are forbidden from trading in our nation. We will not allow you to enter our kingdom, nor will you dream of getting a trade license. The merchants realized the severity of the situation upon hearing my announcement. On this land filled with potential, they were no longer welcome. Duke Muse looked pale as he seemed to have realized his plan had been foiled completely. This is outrageous. These people were merely defending their rights based on the international charter. Muse, having lost his temper, protested. It'd be the end of him, if they can no longer trade with our nations. He must be thinking so. Indeed, this land was expected to develop into a town with significant economic influence. It may be as powerful as the entire Western nations combined. That must have been why he tried to befriend us in the first place. If you have already seen that far into the future, you shouldn't have played tricks like these. Because I show no mercy to my enemies. Rights, you say? You seem to have been mistaken. Allow me to clarify, our nation has yet to join the Western State Council. We did have the intention to join, but it's really not that big a deal, even if we don't. What? Well, you see, this land will no doubt grow to be an important economic hub. This is an undeniable fact at this point, or at least that's what I am driving towards. What nonsense. By what? Your own will? How dare you say something this arrogant? It's not arrogance at all. Everyone here has united to head towards the same goal. And in the end, there will only be one outcome. I'm simply part of our momentum. I tried to make it sound nice. But in reality, I did put what I personally wanted on priority, and to make them into reality. That's why I honestly couldn't deny it when he called me arrogant. But nonetheless, I still managed to argue back, sounding all justified. I also wanted to build an equal relationship with the Western State Council. But the deal's off if they try to suppress our nation in any way. We don't really need to play along with them, as long as we trade through the Freedom Association. Is that understandable to you? Besides, even if we needed to, we could always just make an exclusive deal with countries such as Bloom and Dworgen. We only had to make such deals with countries we trusted. We also had plenty of tricks up our sleeve, so there's no need to panic. We could also just develop our country and raise our influence until countries willing to trust us step forward. This thought had solidified in my heart. I understand. Then allow me to be the bridge to connect your nation and the council. It seems that there has been a grave misunderstanding, but I still hope to be at least of some use to you, Your Majesty Rimuru. You sure tried your best, Duke Muse. Seriously though, had you decided to stand down early on? I didn't plan to say what I have to say now. I can't really have Muse-san as my intermediary. Since you've lost the power to do such a thing. What? Duke Muse was shocked by my words, and wasn't able to react for some time. Since the whole ordeal has already concluded anyway, I didn't want to say this to his face directly. But at this point, I suppose explaining things thoroughly to him would be a form of mercy. Every reporter in this room will write about this incident in their respective nation. The content will be that there was a secret power struggle behind the founding festival of the Monster Kingdom, which has to do with the payment for the merchants. They will make sure of the facts and write what must be very interesting articles. Duke Muse was completely baffled at the moment. Upon thinking what would happen later, his expression looked dimmer and dimmer. This was precisely why I didn't want to say those things. The merchants ignored our request and would only take dwarven gold coins. The strange thing was, despite being completely unrelated to the whole ordeal, some big-shot noblemen came forth all of a sudden and managed to calm all these merchants down. I wonder what people would think when they see news like this. This was Diablo's plan. He gathered a bunch of reporters for them to observe all of the details. This way our nation would be portrayed as the reasonable side, while the merchants would appear as though they were all working towards some sort of a conspiracy. I agreed with his method, since information was only useful when used correctly. As opposed to allowing people to fabricate stories about us, I'd hope that facts of the matter could be reported word for word from the start. That being said, it was thanks to Gazelle and Omisia's advice that we were able to come up with such a strategy. Even Diablo said that I still have much to learn before expressing gratitude to them both. This time we were totally in their care. I'd have to thank them properly when such opportunities arose. That's how it is. We have no need for you to do anything. Also, I have 100% trust in Miles, who you have looked down upon. I'm even willing to hand our nation's financial sector entirely to him to manage. He's a lot more useful than you. Duke Muse's face twisted out of humiliation. The merchants all looked desperate. In comparison, the reporters looked happier than I expected. Since they were not the victims here, instead, some of them were even writing down the details of the negotiation with much vigor. Some have even brought expensive magic items such as video recorders. Surely the story of this incident would quickly spread among the nations. These merchants brought the reporters here as insurance, yet now they had become their doom. I'll leave the rest to you. I will take care of everything now, Your Majesty Rimuru. Miles acted with extreme courtesy. As I passed him, I gave him a pat on the shoulder and whispered, "Be counting on you, Miles-kun." After which, I left the room with the executives. I thought I saw Miles-kun giving off a wry smile. Well, it wasn't really a physical one. And next, he switched to his elite look, unique to a merchant, and turned to Duke Muse, as well as glancing around the merchants. Surely Miles' prowess had also been observed at length by my executives. People shouldn't have any complaints now, even if I appointed Miles as the Minister of Finance. Then the transaction has been completed successfully, and our festival is officially over. Please follow me to a different venue. Miles' stately voice came out of the room. Now we could finally say that everything had concluded. That's it for today, guys. See you next one. For further more update, please like, share and subscribe. And do not forget to push notification bell.